I saw in an interview that you came on board in what you called the sweet spot. It wasn't too early, it wasn't super late. But I'm wondering, is it possible to get onto a film too early, or why do you consider that the sweet spot?
Well, I think that's probably just something I said at the time. Is it possible to come in too early? I don't think it's possible to come in too early. It's possible to come in early and not have the time to do much about it, I suppose. But I always like the runway. So I'm working on something now that I've had a little bit of runway on. And so even though I've been in the middle of another project, I've done enormous amounts of legwork and have hours of music already, like sketches already there. So I already have probably all or most of the main themes, the bulk of a lot of the fundamentals written, and then the real meat of it will be when I start it up next month to implement that all with real instrumentation. So the sweet spot, I feel like I just never want to start later than that. I have, but I'm trying to never do that again. And sometimes you do it because there's something about the project that is just incredibly endearing, and I want to make sure that I get to do it. But for the most part, I think by and large, I would say that as a rule, I'm trying to never do anything in that last minute. I've been approached by big fucking movies, man, like by things it would like blow your mind how some of these things that have pretty lofty budgets would turn around and come at music, which is not some insignificant part of
overnight
the finished project, and no shit, come at me like 2 weeks outside of when it was supposed to start and say, then we've got a 3-week window where in which the music can start to be written and then end and needs to be mixed by. And so that's and if you look at that as an example, and probably not a ubiquitous but probably very off practiced example of how the whole thing works, you start to get a sense of why everything sounds, or why so much of it sounds so much the same. Because when you give somebody no time, what the fuck are they supposed to do besides, okay, they're going to scramble. They're going to go for, because you don't have time to cross temp. You don't have time to start, getting inspired and going, oh, well, I know that they've been asking for this, but I've got another idea, and I wonder if this might work, if we can have a conversation. There are no conversations when you have 3 weeks to score the whole film. You just are cloning the temp and trying not to get sued. And so that's something I won't do, because the alternative is just too good. When you have a good working relationship with directors and filmmakers who are open to new ideas, when you have runway and enough time to play with it, it's really thrilling. It's super. It can be incredibly like joyous, the experience of putting together the music and making something new, trying to make something like tell a story in a new way that you haven't seen or heard before, and that to me is worth holding out for in all the different